Good evening. Happy weekend, everybody. Welcome to the Essential Credentials Podcast, episode 82. Really excited to be here tonight because we are going to try our hand at some trivia. And by our, I mean those guys and not me. I just get to be the host / teacher. So this should work out perfect. Really excited to have everybody here, especially having Ray and Dustin back on here for the second time for both of them. And then we have our regular Will. Will Makes Rugs over here. Will, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How's it going?
Good, man. Do you wish you were where Ryan was eating all that amazing food?
I mean, there's few places on earth better than downtown Nashville.
Yeah. He was sending all of us pictures in the group chat. Holy smokes. And Will, didn't you make waffles and chicken and waffles, even though Ryan was also having that like the same night?
Yeah. Friday night, he went to like a Nashville hot chicken place and got chicken and waffles. And I, just being the Southerner I am, also made chicken and waffles the same night.
That's perfect. That's great, man. Well, great to have you here. And then Chris, welcome back. Well, we're not talking about the national, but you're here. So this is perfect. You and me are starting to level up in our grid scores. I'm proud of both of us, but
level up or just like both plateauing in the same way. Either way. Yes.
Yeah, the Immaculate Grid has been fun. I mean, basically, it's become Ryan 9 out of 9. So it's just about what Will and Ryan, if they're both going to get 9, and then who's got the lower score. I've been doing better, like waking up and then like making my brain do it first thing rather than like trying to get to it when I'm totally tired and done with the day. So, but today's grid was a fun one, wasn't it?
I have not finished. Or no, I did finish it. Yeah, today was a good one.
I'm just realizing I've not opened the grid today.
It's the perfect one for you and me because it's a stat-based one. So yeah.
Viola.
It's all stats and awards.
Viola, yeah, no Viola categories.
I just need to look at it real quick.
Thank God, no Rookie of the Year.
I want to close that out immediately. So we're good.
So we've also got, like I said, Dustin back, Mr. Super Collector Creator himself. Dustin, how many more Grand Slams is Royce Lewis going to hit this month, man? For this year, it's crazy.
It is crazy. And even when the night before his last one, he came up with the bases loaded, and they walked him. I think they're going to start doing that if they come up with the bases loaded.
So they walked him with the bases loaded. Nobody's had that happen.
It wasn't intentional. It wasn't an intentional walk, but I'm sure they were very careful the way they pitched him.
And if I remember correctly, I have him on my fantasy team. Unfortunately, it's a bye week for me in the playoffs because I would have loved the stats he gave me this week. But I feel like I've seen all of the Grand Slams, and if I'm right, they've all been fastballs, and they're leaving him like middle in, and he just like is ready and turns on him. It's really impressive.
It's awesome. It's so cool.
Yeah, real something to get excited about for you guys. Needing some run support, and here it is. And Royce Lewis, it's been awesome.
Very much
fill me in as a National League East guy. What is Royce Lewis doing? AL Central might as well be in another galaxy. What's happening?
He has hit 4 Grand Slams this year. Five Grand Slams in 66 career games so far.
Holy crap. It's a pretty good clip.
Nope. I did want to do one of our categories about like who's got the most Grand Slams in history, but I didn't go there. I figured we'd leave that one for a different time or not do it. But yeah, really impressive stuff. And then Ray, of course, Ray, congratulations again on completing just a monster set of Ichiro cards. I know we had that discussion when we were both kind of chasing it, but it's got to feel pretty good to complete a set after all these years, huh?
Thanks. Yeah, I really appreciate it. It's just one of the things when I started putting that set together in 2011, I didn't think it was going to take, near as long as it did. But it's one of those things that's good to check it off the list and have it completed.
Definitely. Well, speaking of that, here is what we got going on as far as our schedule of events. And I wanted to make sure to put the Ichiro card on there that Ray just got that finished off the set. Yeah, such an amazingly beautiful design set. No surprise that it's Upper Deck. I think we could all guess that based on that design. But so yeah, we're going to hop into our trivia. It's going to be sports card related. There's going to be a stat category. Probably some surprises in there for people. And I kind of gave Chris a little bit of a hint, but I'm not going to say anything else. Will definitely really be excited about the first category for sure. But yeah, just a little bit of everything. And then once we've finished up with that, we're going to talk a little bit about what we got coming up in 2 weeks. Mike Kramer is going to join us on the 30th. We're all going to be lucky enough to read an advanced copy of his book digitally and kind of come up with some questions of our own. But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about what we might be able to ask him now that this book is coming out, and then talk a little bit with Dustin. We've just passed 600 members in the group. Pretty exciting stuff. 601, and then we'll wrap it up. So should be a fun show. Hopefully some people show up here and don't give the answers during trivia, but it could be really funny. So keep your eyes off the comments there, fellas. Somebody might jump in there and try to sneak one in. But all right. So let's go ahead and jump right into it then. We're going to have Will and Chris obviously on one team against Dustin and Ray. Hopefully there's brotherly love and not some arguing and pettiness going on in between you guys. But have you guys ever been on a trivia team together, Will and Chris? And how has it gone?
Absolutely. We're professionals. We do this on a weekly basis at local bars, baseball trivia, pop culture, music. I mean, we just, it's hard to lose.
Okay. Wow. But you humble brag a little bit there.
No pressure, Dustin.
Yeah, right.
Will, have you guys actually done like a trivia thing, like as a family or anything, or is this the first time?
As far as like in a public setting, not that I can recall. I mean, the occasional Trivial Pursuit board game, something like that. Yeah.
Right.
But
okay.
This ought to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, let's hop right into category one. So we're going to start with Will and Chris. I mean, Will has been here the most as far as who's been on the podcast the most. So I feel like that's kind of, I got to pay him his dues. So Will and Chris, I'd give you time for a team name, but we don't need to do that this time around. Maybe next time if this goes well. So let's hop into round one, shall we? All right. Make sure this is going to work. All right. So which player has the most Kramer's Choice inserts? And when I talk about that, I'm not talking about the jumbos. So forget about the jumbos. This is all the regular sized Kramer's Choice. Let's just make sure it's not going to reveal all the choice. Here we go. Perfect. So Will and Chris, who would like to guess first? Who has the most, or all the way down to the fifth most?
Okay, so this is Family Feud style.
I mean, kind of, yeah, but we didn't poll 100 people. I love how Dustin asked that. He goes, "Did you poll 100 people for these questions?" No, I just found the stats myself.
I'm disappointed you're not in a suit dressed like Steve Harvey.
I mean, I need to make sure this works, and then I can get my one suit that I have out. But I will look at you kind of ridiculous, like an idiot, like he does on really dumb answers. So be careful.
All right, I'll throw an answer out. I feel like an obvious one would be Griffey.
Okay, Griffey. So yes, Griffey is the number one answer. He's got 7 total Kramer's Choice. So let's see here. There we go. So 500. Very good. All right. So, and again, how the scoring goes, I probably should have said that. It's 500, 400, 300, 200, 100. So 500 for the top choice, 100 for the fifth choice. There is one round that's reversed because it's so tricky. So whoever gets like the fifth most popular will get the most points, but we'll deal with that when it comes up. So Ray and Dustin, can you name one of the 4 top 5 players that have the most Kramer's Choice?
You want this one, Ray?
What are your thoughts on this?
I would think I'm not an expert on Kramer's Choice. This is out of my league, but yeah. I would guess A-Rod would maybe be in the top. Or
do you want that to be your guess?
Yeah, we'll do A-Rod.
Okay, so A-Rod did not make the list. So, yep, incorrect on that one. That's a good guess. I thought he would too, but these 4 players have more than he does. But you got to remember, 97, he had a bad year, so he didn't make it. And then he also didn't make it into the extra. You guys remember the bonus release with the good different colors and whatnot. Didn't make it into that either. So because it was 98 and he had a kind of a subpar year in 97. All right, so I guess what I'll do then to make this easier is I'll just go to Chris next to make it kind of even. So Chris, would you like to guess a player that would be on this list?
I'm trying to just take something off of Will without because he's going to have the deeper pull. So I'm just going to say Cal Ripken.
Cal Ripken is the number 2 choice. He actually has 6.
I was going to say A-Rod.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought A-Rod was a great answer. I was shocked he's not on there.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair here, this was kind of a tricky one because three guys have 6 and 2 guys have 5. But I just kind of went on like when they first appeared, so that if they got into one of the first sets, that kind of gave them precedent over the guys toward the end. So, yep, Ripken is number 2. What do you think, Ray? I know Dustin said A-Rod, but you got another one for us? There's 3 more.
We're going for the big guys. Maybe Frank Thomas.
He actually only had he was like 6th place. He only had 4. Yeah, good guess.
Damn.
Dang, that was going to be my guess. Okay.
All right, Will, who do you got next?
Trying to think who all. I know the 98 checklist fairly well, but how about McGuire?
Nope, he did not make it in the top 5 either. I thought it was Frank and A-Rod and McGuire all had the same. They had 4. They had 4 total, if I'm correct on that.
Okay.
I was looking at my stats. Yeah, I looked at it on a big spreadsheet. So, yeah, thank you, Baseball Cardpedia, for that. Dustin, what about you? You got another guess here?
I gotta say Barry Bonds.
Nope. And here's the thing, Barry Bonds. Alan and I have had this discussion before. He didn't get nearly as many as you would think. So, nope.
Man.
I know you got great choices.
Man, this is way harder than I thought it'd be. This is great.
Hopefully the people watching, the 5 people watching here, if you just got in here, the first category is who has the most Kramer's Choice inserts, and we're talking about the standard card sizes. So, Chris, go ahead and throw. Wait, am I on Will here? I can't remember who's next. Either
Will.
of you guys.
Chris.
Go. Yeah, Chris.
Yeah. Well, this already maxes out the number of Kramer's choices that I've even seen of these players because I don't go after Kramer's either. And so I'm just thinking about players that I liked and hoping that they're maybe in there.
Right.
I don't know. I'm going to say Manny Ramirez.
Nope, not Manny.
Got one. I think I've got one.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Now, a little hint for Ray and Dustin. Remember, these were picked by Mike, and also if you're looking at like how these lists were determined, a lot of times it was who was having the best statistical years, like looking at their pitching and hitting stats and whatnot. So kind of think about that from 1996 to 2001. And unfortunately, Pacific was created before Ichiro got his cards and stuff because he would obviously have been in these, but he's not. So I'll give you guys one guess each left, and then we will move on to the next category.
You got one, Dustin?
I
was thinking maybe Tony Gwynn.
Correct.
Yeah.
Tony Gwynn. There you go. Boom. Nice job. I was like, I didn't want you guys to debate on it. Like, yep, there we go. Get him some points. So, yeah, Tony's got 6 as well. Will, Chris, can you get number 3 or 5?
All right. Before I want to sidebar with my teammate here. All right. I'm thinking Greg Maddux.
Let me pretend like I'm listening to you.
All right. So I'm thinking we got a Brady Bunch thing going on here. Okay. I think Greg Maddux might be in there.
Okay, Greg Maddux was my first thought. I wasn't thinking about pitchers.
I know like other players that have Kramer's, but I don't know if they were in a lot of years. Was like Roberto Alomar, Larry Walker.
Don't you have that Brett Favre Kramer?
That's baseball. We said baseball. We're talking baseball, not sports.
Hey, that's the only other one I've seen.
Yeah.
I don't think Chipper was in. At least
I don't see Braves in my head.
Okay, 5 seconds. Throw a guess out for us, fellas.
All right, let's go with Maddux.
Yeah.
He is not in the top. No, he's right underneath. So the last 2 guesses he could have had, Mike Piazza.
Wow.
And Nomar.
Oh,
Gosh,
wow.
Nomar. I was going to say Nomar.
Yep.
Dang, and I said Manny too.
All right.
I would not have thought Nomar would be in that many sets. I figured he'd be in a couple, but not a lot of them.
and I don't want to say any more stats because you'll see why I can't really say anything. But we'll figure that out. So
yeah, I went with good hair instead of a fun name.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go on to round 2. Let me see what my questions are. All right. So this is a stat category one. We're going to start with Dustin and Ray here. So it's name the top 5 players with the highest OPS that are still playing other than Mike Trout, because I wanted to get rid of the obvious choice. I think we all would have said Trout. I think most kids that know the game would have probably said Trout. So other than Mike Trout, can you name who are, based upon what their stats are now, who are still playing? What are the guys that have the top 5 highest OPS?
So this is career OPS.
Yes. So, hey, Henry, I love this. No idea what's going on. We're doing a round of trivia. It's like baseball stats and then baseball cards as well. Just having some fun, man, because we got Kramer coming on in 2 weeks. Just wanted to have some fun. So, looking at this category, Dustin, Ray, what are you guys thinking for your first choice?
Oh man,
Well, Shohei, Acuna.
Remember, this is active players, so like anybody that's still playing their entire career, right? Not just over the last 5 years or whatever. So it's entire career.
you would think Shohei would be top 5.
I was going to say, I still would think, both of those guys have got to be up there.
Judge has got to be up there too, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Judge for sure. You know, you think maybe like Miguel Cabrera right away, but those guys that have been around for a long, long time, their OPS has, probably went down.
Yeah.
Than the younger guys,
All right, which one do you guys want to go with?
What do you think?
You want to go with Judge?
We'll do a Judge.
Okay, Aaron Judge is not on the list.
Oh,
jeez,
man.
So think about that too. If Judge is not on the list, and again, I just used the baseball reference. I said highest OPS of active players, and I used the top 5 after Mike Trout. So yeah, Judge's not on the list. No surprise. He's up there, but he's not in the top 5.
Now you made sure to filter out Nicky Lopez, who's played 12 games.
Trust me, I'm not. There's
1,100.
Yeah. Let me just throw that. There's not any guys like any of the, what do we call it, the Nelson Mandela players? There's none of those guys on here.
Okay.
Well, yeah, Royce Lewis should be on there then, right?
Yeah, Royce Lewis, yeah.
And I'm not exactly sure if it, I think what it is you're taking every year they've played, you add it all up and divide by the years they've been playing, and you get that average. There's one on here that nobody's going to get. I think I'm going to have to give 500 points or like 1,000 if somebody gets it. I'm pretty sure nobody will get it. But anyway, what do you guys think, Chris, Will?
My first thought was Miggy. I totally agree with Dustin that like the older guys, they're going to dip, but
I like this, like Jeff Mathis.
Braves legend Jeff Mathis.
So what do you think, Chris? You get to go with that guess?
See, my gut was Freddie Freeman.
Ooh.
Active player. He's having another just all-star year. He's in
been
the
around
top.
for a minute.
You guys aren't allowed to talk about the Dodgers
right,
right now. They beat the Mariners, so y'all are not allowed to talk about the Dodgers right now. So, nope.
I'm talking about brave Freddie Freeman.
Oh, okay.
I'm not talking about second fiddle Freddie.
All right. Throw a guess out, Will or Chris, real quick.
Yeah, I like Freddie. Let's go with Freddie.
I put Freddie above me.
All right. He's not on here either.
No.
Nope. Not on here either.
I think I got one, maybe. I'll see what you think, Ray. Juan Soto, maybe?
Ooh, I
know his average has been low the last couple years, but like super high on base percentage.
I'm going to throw a hint out to both of you guys before you lock in another answer. Longevity. That's your hint. All right. Like that's yeah. So use that. Yeah. For the most part, use that be above everything else.
Okay. So maybe we do want to go with Miggy then, huh?
Yeah, let's do Miggy.
Okay. Good job. Number 1 answer.
All right.
Dang it.
Right back in it. Right back in it. Let's go. 900 to 700.
A player that's been crushing it for a long time.
Honestly, when I looked at this, I think 1, maybe 2 were like, oh yeah, and then 1 was really, how they're on the list. I really don't know. Look as far as how it's calculated, but I mean, yeah. So there's one I don't think anybody's going to get. So
I really just want to make joke guesses.
Oh, I got one. If there's a trick one, it's gonna be this brother here, Nelson Cruz.
he's not on there. That is good thinking though. He's not on there. That
that was
been,
the next name that was going to come out of my mouth too.
For real?
Yeah.
all right.
Once he said the longevity thing, I'm like, oh, maybe Nelson Cruz.
All right, so
Dang.
we'll do one more guess from you guys, and then since you both will have, if you get it wrong, you both have 2 wrong. I'll throw out some hints, but I'll just give like less points or something. But Ray and Dustin, what do you think? Highest OPS that are still playing?
You think Mookie?
Mookie's a good one.
Is that the one you guys are going with?
You feel comfortable with that?
That's fine with me.
Number 3.
Dang.
Oh, that was my
No.
next guess.
That was gonna be my next guess too.
Tear the brim off my
Nice.
hat. I'm like stressing.
Good one. Good one. All right, so I'm not going to get that. Let's do one more round of no hints here. I want to see if you guys can
Yeah,
figure
we're
it
good.
out.
We just need to think. We just need to sit and think. Give me my
Yeah.
20
How about
seconds.
Josh Donaldson.
What'd you say?
He's had a couple of terrible years though. Josh Donaldson.
You know, I was seriously, when I said I wanted to make joke guesses, I was going to say Josh Donaldson. I'm not even kidding. But I was meaning that as a joke and not a real answer. But I'm kind of scared that's maybe the one he's talking about.
One
I
to
tried
think
watching
about
Matt's
though
face
is
when we said that.
Donaldson had like the year with the A's, and then he had like 2 or 3 good years with Toronto, right? But then that's it. So we're talking like a little 4-year chunk. You
Yeah.
want to think
Yeah,
of like
his
an
window is
entire
small.
career. And I'm looking at 2 guys on here that nobody thinks of. Their cards should probably be worth more. But these guys have been awesome, consistent hitters.
What
Awesome.
about Paul Goldschmidt?
Who?
Paul Goldschmidt.
Oh, Goldie.
Yes,
like that.
that's number 4. Good job. Good work, Paul Goldschmidt. All right. I just wanted to give it to you. I didn't want you guys to deliberate too much because that's tough to come up with that. All right. Ray and Dustin, you're not getting number 5. Nobody's going to get number 5.
Okay,
But number
Ray-
2,
Oh, we're getting number 5.
Yeah.
I got 2 names, Ray, and you pick which one you like better.
Okay.
Bryce Harper, Nolan Arenado.
Let's go with Bryce Harper.
you want to do? Hold on. I got to mute my Facebook messaging. Ryan and Jeremy aren't aware that we're live right now. So there we go. That is incorrect. So
Wow. Arenado was going to be my next guess.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to give a hint for number 2 and number 5 for you guys. I'll give you 100 points each if you guys can get them. So number 2 for Chris and Will, Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know-
you're
I-
thinking him?
I know who it is.
Ready.
Votto.
I mean, we've already
Votto,
guessed.
yeah.
I want to guess them
Yeah.
again. No. Okay.
It's got to be Votto.
Yeah. So Votto. Yep. And then you
my
guys
God.
are not going to believe this one, number 5, but mainly played. So a hint for Ray and Dustin, mainly played for the Rays.
Longo.
Yep. That's correct. How about that?
Wow. Really?
Yeah, I know that was like, I was like, what? But I mean, if you think he was still playing, and when he played for San Francisco, when he would play, he was hitting like 280, 290. Like he's had some really good years of intermittent playing. So that was a really surprising one to me. Yeah, you know what? That would have been a really good one, but he was, again, he had like 6 really good years. So, all right. So we got a really close game now. Nice job. That is
I did not
round.
guess
Yes,
on
Charlie
Williams
Blackman.
still
I thought
playing.
about Charlie Blackman too. That was good.
All right, so round 3, I'm really excited for this one. This has to do with Pacific cards again, but we're talking about comps. And how I did this question here, you guys can take a look at it. Name the top 5 players that had the highest recorded sales on eBay of Pacific cards. Now, if the player showed up once, that's it. Like if I see them, I'm not going to count all the other cards that were sold of them. I think it'll be pretty obvious with one of them. So this person had so many cards. I just was like, well, there's the top one, moving on. So I have the player and how much the card sold for. And so the most expensive will be the top choice. So you don't have to get the amount. You just have to get the player. And then the 5th most expensive is obviously number 5. So I'm going to start with, let's see, I think I started with Ray and Dustin on the last one, right? So we'll go back to Will and Chris on this one. Name the player. Name a player who has a card that's in the top 5 most expensive sold.
And you do have the price, right? Because now I
Yep.
gotta know.
I have it listed when I flip it over. Yep.
Okay. I mean, the obvious one's got to be Griffey, right? I mean, he's just on another planet.
Okay.
He's got to be top 5. Got to.
Yeah, at minimum, right?
Is that what you guys' guess is? In
If you
King
tell
Griffey
me
Jr.
Evan Longoria, even though he wasn't even.
Yeah. Let's see. Reload the page. All right. So Griffey is number 2. He had a Kramer's Choice Gold out of 15 sell for $4,649.
Wow.
And this is like
cheaper than I would have thought.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and of course, PSA 7 pop 1, right? Okay, so 400 points to you guys. And again, this is off a 130 point and also eBay comps, and that only goes back 3 months. So kind of keep that in mind. But Dustin and Ray, what are you guys going with here?
I think Ripken.
Oh, timeout. Before you guys make a guess, I should have prefaced this. This is there are 2 sports represented here, baseball and should I say the other one? I might just give it away. Baseball and one other one. So there you go. I love how it's not an obvious choice because I didn't think of it either when I looked this up. But yeah, number 1 is just like, holy smokes.
I guess I don't even know what did they make basketball cards or
They made baseball, they made hockey and football.
okay, I was gonna say I knew they made football. So
Maybe
could it be I was just gonna say, could it be Gretzky?
It is not. It is not Gretzky. I would think that it would be too, but again, this is just the last 3 months. So Gretzky is not on the list as far as the top 5. Again, if I did the top 5, it would all be the same player, and then you guys would have to guess the amount. But I'm not going to do that because that would be silly. So, Chris, Will, you got another guess?
All right, I want to throw out a non-baseball option. Tom Brady.
Yep.
That was
So Tom Brady had about like 98% of all these cards, but his most expensive one was a PSA 10 Revolution rookie out of 300, sold for $6,300.
Out of 300.
How the hell didn't we think of that?
Okay. All right. Next up, I got to give a hint here just because it's so much fun. Dustin, you should be able to get one of these. You should be able to get one of these.
I should, huh?
So it's just not the 2 sports. It's just football and baseball.
Randy Moss, maybe.
Correct. Randy Moss. Let me make sure I have the number right here. Yep.
Nice.
I was really hoping you were about to say Kirby Puckett.
Yeah.
No way.
So Randy Moss had a 1998 Crown Royale limited rookie out of 99, a PSA 9. Think about how hard that would be to get with that die cut. Sold for $1,299.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Getting down
All right,
to a grand here.
these next 2, I don't think anybody's going to get them, but good luck.
Don't put it past us.
I think because I was thinking when I said Tom Brady earlier.
You see that, Dustin?
One of my favorites.
Minkiewicz.
Yeah, Doug Minkiewicz. Yeah.
Doug Minkiewicz, one of the greatest defensive first basemen of all time.
That's right.
I think because when I said Brady earlier, I was flip-flopping between him and Manning.
Okay, time out. No more football cards. That's it.
No more football?
I'm just going to give that out there. All that's left is baseball. So you got 2 baseball cards left. One of them I don't think any of us would think of. And the other one is, yeah, maybe.
It'll be like a red prism of Jose Lima or something weird. Went for $800.
What's the guy I always say? Oh, Willie McGee. Yeah, red prism of Willie McGee. Yeah.
Homer Bush. Yeah.
I was going to say, was Homer Bush in a set?
He
Bush has a red prism, probably.
He was beyond Tom Brady, so I didn't even include him on the list.
Gosh, you got any ideas, Chris? I'm trying to think, like, who are the big rookies?
Okay, there's no player listed twice, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Because I was just like, Griffey.
Yeah.
You know?
He would have been number 2 again, too. Yep.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, like, has Jeremy posted about some – like, is Jeremy the one that's on the list from purchase? Okay.
No. That would have been really funny. Like, so shout out to Jeremy, $5,000. You know,
he's the one that bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Has like a wild vinyl sold recently, or
okay. So what I'm sure you guys are going to be stumped. Just throw a guess out there real quick. Throw a name out there, and then we can get to the hints after the next guess.
All right, let's go. You want to go with Chipper?
Oh, Chipper would be good. Let's
He's
try
not Chipper. Nope, not a Chipper Jones card. Good guess though, because there's so many collectors of him. It is okay. You want the year? Yeah, I'll give the year after this next guess. And then another hint. So Ray, Dustin, what are you guys thinking here?
Well, he said they're going to be hard to get, so they're not going to be obvious.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of them is kind of obvious, and the other one is not. Actually, I didn't even know the card existed. To be honest with you, so
I was just thinking, McGuire and Bonds, just because of the fact that so many people collect them, that they might be fighting over it.
Unfortunately, neither of those guys are on there. So how I'm going to do this, whoever shouts out the guess right will get the points. I'll do 200 each. One of these is a Kramer's Choice Jumbo, and the other one is actually from 1980, and it's an in-person signed that got graded.
Gary Carter.
Nope.
Gary Carter.
Not Gary.
Okay, I know a Jumbo red Ripken recently sold for $415, but I don't think that would be high enough. And I think Ray said Ripken earlier.
So the amounts that you're looking for here, the number 4 choice sold for $800, and the number 5 choice sold for $799. So like it's right there.
Right.
So
how about old Juan Gonzalez?
Nope, wasn't Juan Gonzalez for the Kramer Choice Jumbo. Nope, not Piazza.
1980.
Jeff Bagwell.
Nope, not
You
bad.
said one with 89 signed in person?
1980. It was a 1980 Pacific Baseball Legends. That's the number 4 one we're going for.
Nolan Ryan.
Nope. That was
Willie
a good
Mays.
Nope, but you're on the right track.
Mickey Mantle.
Correct.
Woo!
Mickey Mantle, for real?
Yeah, so if you guys go look it up, there's a 1980 Pacific Baseball Legends. I'm sure he's going to talk about this in his book, but that was one of the first sets he ever made with actual players on it. And there's a card that was signed by Mickey Mantle from that 1980 set. What a cool card, man.
That is cool.
Yeah, go check it out. If anybody's watching, Ben Grieve. I liked him. So the last one, I can't give any huge hints. This guy was like a prolific home run hitter.
A-Rod.
Nope.
Prolific home run hitter.
Oh, yeah.
Sammy Sosa.
Nope.
I thought it was like
Have we said Bonds?
Keep going. You're forgetting one guy. He's earlier 90s, but he was like the home run hitter before Bonds and McGuire.
Cecil Fielder.
Nope. That's a good guess.
Canseco's not in there.
Frank Thomas?
Correct. Frank Thomas. He had the jumbo that went for $7.99. Good job.
I have a 1988 Pacific Legend signed by Earl Batty.
There it is. Cool. Sick. Very nice. All right. So just kind of looking at the Will Clark, that was a good guess too. Looking at the score, Will and Chris got the lead 2,300, Ray and Dustin 1,600. How I have this last category is in reverse, I believe. So if you get the number 5, you'll get 500 points. If you get the number 1 answer, you only get 100 points. You might have to think backwards a little bit. Based upon data from Trading Card Database, name the top 5 players with the most cards made. And this is baseball. By the way, it was baseball anyway, but just to remind everybody, it is just baseball. So Dustin and Ray, which baseball player has the most cards in Trading Card Database, which is, I would say, probably 99% accurate of how many they actually have, maybe 98% if you take out all like the oddballs and stuff. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I think Cal Ripken will have to be up there.
Yes, Cal Ripken is actually number 4. So you guys get 400. 1, 2, 3, 4. You guys are within 300 points. Nice job.
Good job, Ray.
I got 10% of them.
Yeah.
Do you really? Nice job, man.
I think I'm like right at 10%, strangely enough. I'm pretty sure
I think you just went over it a few months ago.
Hopefully Alicia is not listening to this and knows that you have over 2,000 Ripken cards. How much?
They were all 50 cents to $1.
There it is right there.
All right. So
Man, honestly, I'm
I
thinking
feel
more
like
modern.
there's man, because this is all time. So I'm thinking like Babe Ruth could have cards made back then, and then he's in like set for the last 100 years, but he's not in a lot of sets. I feel
right.
like Griffey's got to be up there though.
Okay, Griffey's the number 2. So you guys get 200 for that. Yeah, 24,514. It's a lot of cards. Does Jason Vass have every single one of those, or he has that many, doesn't he? I feel like he's got darn near that many cards.
Doubles of each, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Good job. All right, Ray, Dustin, what are you thinking? You got number 1, 3, or 5?
Wow.
I'm very excited to see who's number 1.
Maybe Nolan Ryan.
No, Nolan Ryan is not in the top 5. Good guess, though. He's got a lot, especially with all those Pacific cards that were made back in the day. How about you, Chris? You got a guess here?
Okay. I really want to go for number 5. I know we're looking at Ripken and Griffey on this list, but I feel like some modern cards are just like printed like so wildly. I'm thinking about possibly Bruce Hooper for number 5. I'm locking in.
Bruce Hooper?
Big Bruce.
No.
First baseman for the Phillies. You never heard of him?
Are you serious? You just...
Dorky headband. I don't know.
That would be one of those like negative
Cries a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, often crying.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Bruce is not on the list, but
Dang.
I would love to see where he was at. So
I like the thought process, though. I like the modern thought process.
Like, 2016 rookie. Like, who's got enough cards? I don't know. Okay. I'm not trying to give them hints.
yeah. All right. Ray and Dustin coming off the heels of that guess. Good
I mean,
luck.
it'd be interesting to see what this list looked like 5 years from now, because obviously they're going to keep making Griffey and Ripken cards, but some of these guys have cards for 10 years before they're even in the majors. They start making them when they're in 16U and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm going to just say McGuire.
He was up there, but no, he did not make the top 5. That was a good one. I know. I was hoping for Tyler's sake that he'd be in there. All right, Will.
I got the captain, Derek Jeter.
Well done. Number 5.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Dang, that was number 5.
Damn.
Now that doesn't mean this game's over, because the bonus round can get you guys back into it. So no worries. But if you guys get the number 3, that could be a big one. So you got the number 1. Number 1 actually surprised me. I'm not going to lie.
Not have number 1?
Yeah, I really thought Derek would be number 1 or Griffey, but neither of them are. So Ray and Dustin, what are you guys thinking? Got 2 more left on the board.
Any thoughts, Dustin?
Not really. You got it, man.
Not thinking.
Jeff Francoeur, maybe.
Tony Gwynn.
Rick Ankiel, Joey Cora,
About Tony Gwynn.
No, he was up there too, though. Good guess.
Dang.
They don't put Tony in enough stuff anymore. That's the thing. Like when I looked at this list, the number 1 guy is surprising to me, because I thought, back in the 90s, you'd have all those, and moving forward. The number 3 choice, I'm surprised nobody's got it yet, but the number 1 is a bit surprising. Yeah.
You think Chris A-Rod, maybe? I'll let you make the final answer.
I think A-Rod is a safe answer.
Yep. There he is, right there.
Dang,
Good
number
job.
3.
Yep.
Oh, I guess
Yeah.
that
That one, he's getting a lot of cards still now. I think it's really surprising. Thank God I'd never collected his Yankees stuff or modern stuff, or it would just be endless. Okay, so Ray, Dustin, just to keep you guys in the game, because it's not an obvious choice, I will give you the 500 if you can get it with no hints right here. Number 1 choice, or number 1 as far as the most cards made.
Man, I don't.
I'll give you each a guess.
Man, there's got to be somebody obvious we're not thinking of.
I have no idea if we're each getting a guess. I guess Albert Pujols.
Correct.
Oh,
Who?
26,000. Yes. Believe that?
wow.
No.
Significantly higher.
Yeah, I was shocked. I really couldn't believe it. And then you look at the other sports, like Brady's not close. Like in hockey, because there wasn't as many hockey cards being made with parallels and all the one-on-ones and all that stuff. Gretzky's not even in like the top 100. I mean, it's crazy how many.
What about
cards
Michael Jordan? You'd think he'd be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was going to ask, do you know who the top non-baseball person was?
I did not look that up. I mean, again, I made this 2.5, 3 hours before, and I was trying to find the thing to do. So it'd be cool to do another category similar, like what are the non-baseball guys. But all right, so that I'm going to leave this up here because this is where I'm keeping track of the score. So you guys have your pieces of paper ready. I need to check one thing before I ask this question, because there's one player that might be a choice that I might have missed. So give me just a second here to pull up my notes. And then I need to check one thing here. Okay, good. I'm so glad. In my mind, I was like, wait, that person's on the list too. Okay, so let's see if I get this. All right, perfect. So the bonus question, which I'm going to pull up here for you guys. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds to get this. I think that's more than – what do you guys think, 30 seconds or a minute? Which one would be better?
I'm down for 30 seconds.
All right,
Put
make
the
it
pressure on
fast.
us.
Put the pressure on you. I need the Jeopardy theme here. So we'll go and share this one. This is a Kramer's Choice question.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but I think you guys can all get some of these. All right, here it is. You ready? I'm going to read the question, then I'm going to start the timer. Can you all see that?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to change the points a little bit, by the way. So just think about it. Name in 30 seconds, write down as many players as you can that only appeared in one Kramer's Choice set. One Kramer's Choice set.
Starting now?
Yep. Starting 3, 2, 1, go. If you are watching right now, don't put anybody in the chat, but start thinking to yourself, who might have been in only one? And you got to name as many as you can. 15 seconds.
Man.
Okay, stop. Finish writing the one that you wrote. Hopefully.
Nope.
Okay.
I feel like I'm
right.
taking the SAT again. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Now I'm just fact checking myself here real quick on.
I've got 9 names. How many do y'all have?
I wrote 6 only.
I only got 3.
I just want to
I
make
don't know
sure.
if all of them are right.
I wrote down 8 names. If we're counting
frantically
wrong
just
answers, I'd probably have different answers.
Okay, good. I wanted to make sure I had all of the guys that had just one. I'm just double checking 2 names here. Okay, good. Then I got this right. Okay, I'm gonna close that. Don't save. All right, so we're just gonna go from Dustin up. I'll give you points for each one that you get. Give you 300 points for each one that you get. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I believe this is 7 players that made it into Kramer's Choice that were only made it in there once. So Dustin, how many did you come up with?
I wrote 6 names. I probably didn't get any of them right, but I wrote Albert Bell, Paul Molitor, Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, Derek Lee, Preston Wilson.
Dang,
Okay, based upon, I mean, again, if Will, you know Kramer's Choice as well as I do, so if there's a checklist I missed, but I grabbed it from 96 all the way to 2001.
Yep.
The only player that you said that's on that list is John Smoltz.
Okay.
John Smoltz, but that was a good one. Yeah, especially with anyway, I don't want to say who's Albert Bell you would think was on there. But again, I believe Mike, when I was chatting with him, I vaguely remember there's something about, not liking him very much. He's kind of a, hothead. All right. So I'll give you 300 for that. Very good. Okay. So Ray, let's hear the names that you got on the list here.
Yeah, I'll go with my 3 horrible choices here. Javi Lopez, Nolan Ryan,
Nope.
Jose Canseco.
That one would have been funny. No, none of those guys made it in a Kramer's Choice set. But those are good guesses, though. All right, so let's just see how Will and Chris have won the game already. But I just want to see how you guys do. So go for it, Chris. How many did you come up with?
Okay, I had Smoltz on my list, so I guess I got that one right.
Yep.
I also have Pedro Martinez.
Oh, good one.
Oh man, did I miss him? I don't think he's in there. Nope. I was thinking he should have been on there, but he's not in there.
Oh, that's surprising.
Yeah.
Be in there.
Just because y'all said it earlier, I really wanted Ben Grieve to be in it.
No, he's not. That one good year. No, not Ben Grieve. Nope.
And then because of that, I always put him and Todd Green together for some reason. So Todd Green is another guess.
Did not make it. Nope.
Andrew
Should have been
Jones.
snubbed.
Andrew Jones did not make it either. Nope.
You said Tom Glavine wasn't in there. I had him on
He was
my
not. Nope. Remember, there's only 10 guys a year, right? So it was pretty tough.
Kurt Schilling, Randy Johnson.
No, and no.
Dang, so
Randy
Smoltz
Johnson
was the
really
only one.
surprised me, but Mike would usually only do one pitcher a set. He liked hitters more, so he would do one pitcher. And you guys all know Greg Maddux was in a lot. He had 5 or 4. So nope. All good guesses though. So we've only got one so far by Dustin. Dustin got John Smoltz. Good luck. Good work on that. All right. Will, what do you think? You're the Pacific Kramer's Choice master here.
I've crossed a few out as they've been incorrect.
And real quick, Will, before you say yours, anybody that's watching now, we got 7 people in here right now. Type a person who you think only has one Kramer's Choice. I see a couple guesses here. We got Piazza. We know he had a lot, but those were guesses for how many cards. Yeah. So type in the chat. Who do you think only had one Kramer's Choice? And we'll see if you guys can come up with the ones Will doesn't get. Go ahead, Will.
All right. So I've got Larry Walker.
He had actually 2.
Oh. All right. Roberto Alomar.
He had way more than that. I think he had 3. He had a bunch in the 90s on the Baltimore when he was crushing it. Yeah.
Okay. How about Big Cat Galarraga?
Nope. Didn't get one.
All right. Let's see. Randy Johnson, he said. How about Eric Chavez?
No, he was really starting to crush it like early 2000s. So if he'd
I
have done
might have snuck in that 01 set.
Yeah, well, in 01 too, yeah, that was the guys like 2000. Their stats in 2000 going into 2001. So, A-Rod and Griffin, all those guys.
Well, I got one more. Let's see if I can get one. How about Vinny Castilla?
No, that was a good guess too. Wow, this is surprising.
Tim Salmon?
Nope.
Nope. Troy Glaus?
How about Jim Edmonds?
Nope.
I'm about to be so angry.
I know, this is crazy. All right, the first after John Smoltz, this one we've talked about it on the podcast with Alan about why he never got in there until 2001, which of course is
Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds won. I mean, he made it into the one set that had the canvas and the styrene. Yeah. The next one too. This pitcher had an amazing year. He actually struck out 20 people in a game one time.
Kerry Wood.
Kerry Wood, yeah.
Kerry Wood.
Yep, Kerry Wood.
Never would have got Kerry Wood.
This pitcher getting in over Randy Johnson still surprises me to this day. But he went to the mound, I believe, with Derek Jeter to take Rivera out of. No, did he go up there with Posada? It might have been with Posada. Andy Pettit. Yep, Andy Pettit. And then the next one too should have been in the Hall of Fame way before he finally got in, but he played for this team.
Jamie Moyer.
No,
Edgar.
he's one of the greatest hitters of all time.
Edgar.
Correct. And then the next one too had his 3,000th hit with the team that you never would think that he got his 3,000th hit with, but he got like 95% of his hits with the Yankees.
Wade Boggs.
Yep, correct. And then the last one, this player is just being this player. He likes to go into Fenway inside the wall.
Manny Ramirez.
Yeah, Manny. Oh, double. Yeah. So, yeah, that was fun, fellas. It was really fun for me to kind of dig into the data with some of these specific cards mainly, but just to look at some of that stuff like trading card database. So we all learned something surprising today. That
was great. I feel like I've learned so much.
Liked it.
I was very surprised.
Yep.
Unfortunately for me, Kirby had to retire before he could get into some of these specific sets, and so I'm not super familiar with them because of that. because the Twins sucked really bad in that era.
They were pretty bad.
Marty Cordova didn't sneak in.
Actually, I'm surprised. I would have said like Todd Walker, because like Todd Walker was in like every insert set ever made, even though he wasn't that good of a player.
Yeah, so I just
Shannon
went.
Stewart didn't have a big year to sneak in there one year.
All your were great too.
Shannon Stewart.
Oh yeah, Shannon Stewart. He had a really great year one year for the Twins.
Yeah, well, or like JD Drew, right? Because he had a lot of hype coming out that one year, but he didn't have a great year. So it wasn't a hype set. It was like you guys. I remember Mike said like the top of the top, and he typically would repeat guys. I mean, Griffey having the most, right? It's the local, the companies in Seattle. But for Randy Johnson not to be in there, that really surprised me, especially after the year he had in '96. I mean, I feel like to put him in there, he won the Cy Young in the American League, but he put Greg Maddux in and put a bunch of hitters in for the '97 set. So A-Rod had to sneak in there. So imagine trying to do that checklist every year, because you probably come up with 20 to 25 guys, and you're like, well, we got to put Griffey, and we got to put Frank Thomas, or we got to put McGuire, like these guys that are like the top of the top. So definitely tricky, but a fun one. Yeah. Looking forward to doing that again with you guys. And hopefully I can, make it even a little bit more smoother on the back end, but that was fun. So anyways, speaking of Mike Kramer, he's coming on. And I thought it would be really fun to maybe if we could each have a bit of a discussion here and come up with some questions to ask him, maybe that if we kind of think about our first two times having him on here, the first time being a complete like technical disaster, but we made it work. And then the second time was really smooth. His son stepped up and got him an iPad, and it was awesome having him on here. So hopefully it'll be like that. But being that his book is coming out and there's probably some stuff in there that maybe we don't know about, what are some things you guys are thinking that would be great to hear from him about, not regarding print runs, because we all know that we have that data if we need to look at it. So anything come to mind?
I would be interested to see what he thinks of the state of the hobby today, like with Fanatics and Panini and all of this stuff, and where he thinks it's headed.
Right. I'm going to get a little note sheet going here. Yeah. And I remember when that was announced, he reached out to us. You remember that, Will? He was like, are you guys reading this? This is crazy. Like there's all like, how is this going to work? I think in respect to that, I would love to know, like if he all of a sudden was like, you know what, I want to start the company up again. Could that even be a possibility, because we joke all the time, like, we'd make the perfect employees, you know what I mean? We've got all these connections. We know what people are looking for. But I wonder if it could even exist nowadays,
I think they're going to be so strict on the licensing. I don't think they'll even be able to use the image or the team names. I don't think they'll be able to do that anymore.
All right.
I don't think so.
That was going to be my question. Kind of like, could he do what he did then today? Like, could he, like, what would it take to be, just some guy that's like, I want to make cards. How much money do you have to have in your bank account to do that now? Like, I think, like, I'm a wrestling fan, so I think like Vince McMahon's a billionaire running WWE, and it took Tony Khan, who was also a billionaire, to start AEW to come anywhere close to competing, and they still get blown out of the water in ratings. So it's like, to compete with Fanatics now, assuming you even could, I'm sure there's a bunch of legal reasons why you couldn't, but I mean, my God, the pockets you would have to start something up would be insane, I would think.
It's almost one of those, they got so much money backing them that if you did to try to do something, then they could put, lawsuit after lawsuit and just bankrupt you. And
yeah,
so why even go for it?
Yeah.
It's kind of like what happened with the golf, with the PGA and the Live Tour. The Live Tour has got Saudi backing, billions of dollars, and they just kept putting lawsuit through the PGA, and PGA said they gave up. They couldn't afford it. They would both go bankrupt. Big companies taking over.
Yeah, it would be almost impossible now. I mean, obviously, in a perfect world, Mike could get the license because he's got like good relationships with the Players Association, at least with hockey, right? I mean, selfishly, but baseball and hockey would be just amazing to have those two sports. But any other questions in regards to his history in the hobby or anything currently going on?
I want to know who's his 10 Kramer's choices for 2023.
Okay. All right. If you designed a Kramer's Choice for this year, who would be your 10? All right. I love that question.
Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, basically the starting infield for the Braves, and then sprinkle whoever else you want.
Austin Riley is not making it in
Kirby
Kramer's
Puckett
Choice.
and all the other Twins legends. Let's do that.
Tyler Glasnow, who got completely raked by the freaking Orioles today.
Frank Viola.
Oh my God. That was brutal. I turned it off. I couldn't take it.
I don't think the Twins have ever had a single player in Kramer's Choice.
Royce Lewis.
That would be the final one to do it.
Now, it would be like three Braves, right? It would be at least 2, if not 3. So, yeah.
Do you know if he's
Can you
on any
confirm?
old
Are we
product?
getting an advanced copy of his book?
I have not got it yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to get my hands on that. That'd be great.
Definitely let you guys know for sure. What were you saying, Ray?
Do you know if he has any old product, like still sitting around, like case here, case there, or anything?
That's a good question.
I wonder.
He does, but I want him to talk about that. Any product around it was so funny to be in there, and here's a box of Revolution that Brady's in. Here's a box. I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy, just yeah. Like, I mean, he definitely needs to talk about that. Like, what does he have still, right? I don't think he really talked about that too much. Like, he talked about the stuff on the wall behind him and whatnot, but he really didn't talk about like the scope of the breadth and scope of what he really has at his place there. How about you, Chris? I mean, somebody who, I don't want to say you're newer to collecting because you've been collecting a long time, but somebody maybe who isn't as active in these groups and just knows about Pacific. Anything you're curious about?
I had 2 thoughts. I was already thinking of this when Will said who would the 10 Kramer's Choice be today. But I was thinking, okay, so say Pacific is competition today and they are making cards. What would be like something that he's going after to like sell a product? Like Kramer's Choice, if that was such a chase card, like, well, yeah, it would still be big because people who collected that are still collecting.
Right.
But if he was trying to be competition today, would there be just some similar kind of chase card, or would he kind of go to a different, would he branch out to different types of products? Would he try to look really different? Like, I guess I'm thinking like, what would be the new kind of strategic thinking for shifting the hobby as a competitor? Because I feel like he has that brain, regardless if he's been thinking about that directly very much. But I would think he's got to have some thoughts on, what's it look like to even go up against something like Fanatics, or what would you try to do if you were just doing your own thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would love to hear it, because it's almost like, would he go reverse what he did? Because he's the one that came up with parallels, right? So would he go, you know what, let's bring it back and just do like case hit inserts and some really tough inserts, but don't do like nothing's going to be numbered. They're all going to be really tough. And then do like this, maybe like 3 or 4 parallels of the base set. It'd be really interesting to see if he kind of like brought it back, but then, doing a set like Revolution that has 3 cards per pack and the cards are just beautiful, but you don't have to pay it, $50 a pack. I'd be really curious to hear his thoughts, and I feel like sending these questions to him ahead of time will be great, because it'll give him some time to think about, okay, like what would potentially be something that I would do.
Or hear me out. Negative serially numbered.
Aren't they doing that? Aren't they doing that on some Topps cards? Right?
I don't understand it.
As just
kids and their damn TikToks.
I was going to say we're turning into the old people of the hobby. Like,
get off my lawn,
kids.
Oh my
I'd like to know on a personal level, because I know he's got a son that I think is more or less our age ish, and did they only open Pacific? Was there a non-Pacific product they like to open? What was the last pack of cards you remember opening that wasn't Pacific?
Awesome.
And maybe ask him, if somebody were to try to start making cards now, if he had just a general idea what kind of bankroll that would even, where that would even be, but prices are so inflated on everything right now. I don't know if he could even, get you close, but just in his opinion, what that value would be. I'd be interested to know.
I mean, if we could just, again, perfect world, like there's still 3 card companies, Upper Deck and Panini and Topps are all making all the sports, and so you could have another company come in. What would that take? What kind of money are you looking at, especially knowing how tough it is to get to the printing facilities that are left? I mean, you got one over in Italy that's doing half of the Upper Deck cards now because Topps is basically, Topps prints in-house, Panini kind of prints in-house, but all the other card companies are kind of using the 2 main facilities that we have. Is it 2 or 3 in the United States? I can't remember, but it's not many.
I have no idea. I didn't know it was set up like that.
Yeah, it's definitely tougher than you would think. And then to get them all shipped to the players and stuff, like I think Panini had it, right when they were doing hockey, especially because it was like its own department and they could print it all there, send it to the players, it would come back and then get packed out. It was much more easier to do, just like Mike did it back in the day. So that's a great question. I'd love to hear him talk about that a little bit. Do we have any questions specific to the book side of things? Talking about somebody who created a card company that would have done it or that did it the way we would probably want to do it now, right? That's, I think, why we look up to him so much is he wasn't Topps, he wasn't Upper Deck, he wasn't Donruss and Pinnacle and Fleer. Like he was kind of like the little guy, quote unquote, who just had great ideas like we would come up with and they would just do them. Like anything that comes to mind as far as like the process though of writing the book or anything that he can talk about that's in there?
Yeah, I'm curious how long it took him. Like, you just like sit down in a weekend and like, I'm sure like a bulk of it came all at once, kind of just like hitting the highlights, giving yourself a rough outline.
Mm-hmm.
Were you like 80% done in a week, and then the last 20% took 9 months, or
right?
What was how long did it take you start to finish, kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah, and to add to that too, Ryan said, how did you determine what to leave out? Because I'm sure there's so much that he wants to put in there that he didn't get to put in there, that we're all going to be like, that maybe something we all know from his interview, but we're like, well, how did that not get in there? Like, that's such a good, like the Prism. I bet you this isn't in there. The Prism thing from 2000. Mike, there's 16 parallels, or how are collectors going to be able to get all these? Like eBay is not that popular yet. And he goes, they'll figure it out. Do it. Like it's such a good little tidbit from him because nobody else would have done that, nobody. So, yeah, I like those questions. I'll get both of those in here. What about, like Ray too? I mean, Ichiro, obviously you really started getting heavy into the 2001 and on, and Pacific was only doing hockey at that point. Did anything catch your eye or come to mind when you take a look at those specific cards, even though you don't collect them necessarily?
I cut Andrew Jones a little bit. So I picked up a few, he had Pacific cards, and those look really cool. I mean, I really wish, that the timing of Ichiro was different, so he could have had some cards in those sets. But I mean, they're gorgeous cards. I mean, they're on their own. I mean, no other card company has cards like that, so they're just very unique.
Be kind of curious to hear what he thought about, because I know he's talked about looking at other designs, and I've sent him some inserts that Panini does still that kind of go back to the Pacific designs of the 90s and early 2000s. And I'd be curious to hear what Mike thinks about like what designs nowadays stand out to you, like, is it some of the case hits from Panini? Is it anything from Topps or Upper Deck? Is there anything that catches your eye? Because obviously he had a very unique way of doing things. The Dial-A-Stats cards keep coming to mind. Like, who the heck would have thought about that? Like, let's put a metal thing right in the middle where you can move the little piece of paper in the middle of the card. Like, what designs stand out to him that he sees now? I know he's into football, so I'd be curious to see what he is finding exciting.
Yeah, I'm curious too. Like, what I need to go back and rewatch our first 2 interviews with him too, to kind of revisit what we discussed with him already. We may have already covered this, but he gets out of Pacific early 2000s ish,
2003. Yeah.
And then what? You would think like somebody with so much like creative juice flowing to just like, all right, close the lock on Pacific. I guess I'll just go chill and retire. Like, I mean, maybe I could definitely do that, but I feel like I I don't have that drive that I feel like he has to have had in order to accomplish what he accomplished.
Right.
So I guess I'm just curious, like, was it easy for you to just kind of like, all right, that was fun? Or did he go into something else that didn't work out that we just don't know about? Or I know he's big into history memorabilia. So like, did he kind of just bide his time collecting history stuff and that was enough for him? Or
right.
Yeah. What did he do?
I had a thought too, kind of off of that, thinking about when you mentioned his accomplishments, because I think like as a creative person, he has no idea if something's going to be successful until it's on a shelf and people are buying it like crazy, So I'm curious, and maybe this is in the book, or maybe this is even a part of a conversation you had in those other interviews. I need to go back and look at those too. But was there something in Pacific or even afterwards that maybe could also spark the conversation of what happened between the 2003 and 20 years later? But were there any really big decisions he made that he felt were really risky and that just totally paid off, or things that he thought was, a sure thing that ended up just kind of flopping? I'm sure he has those stories ready to go, but I'm curious, is there something that I have that's dear in my collection that he thought was just gonna, maybe do well, maybe not, or also really thought the opposite, thought it was really gonna do well and it did?
I wrote that down too. I'd like to hear one of each. I'd like to hear the risky decision that he made either with a design or a set, or again, I think Prism is probably the number one choice there, but maybe other than 2000 Prism, unless that's the one he wants to talk about. What was one that you were like, this is going to be a tough one, and then it did well, and then flip side, they tried something and he looks back and is like, yeah, that probably wasn't the best idea. It'd be cool to hear both, and hopefully he can look through these and say like, hey, some of these are in the book, so maybe we don't talk about them so people can discover them, or he can give us like a trailer, a movie trailer answer, kind of give us the a little bit of a taste so we go in there and read it. Yeah, I love this idea from Ryan. We need to get Mike and Gene Arena to team up and roll out Kramer's Arena Hockey. That would just destroy every product in the best of ways. A baseball and a hockey product, I think we'd all be in heaven to have all those players represented with those two designing something. He did say, do you think any of the former employees would come on the podcast? Yeah, we've talked about having his who was it again? Will,
Shannon.
the person who?
Her name was Shannon, I think.
Shannon, and her job was what again?
She was like the QC person, or she was his first lieutenant. I don't know how to describe it.
First lieutenant, yeah.
Second in command.
Okay. Well, talking to him, we can maybe ask that to get Shannon on here, especially with how amazing those 98 Kramer's Choice, the secret ones, right? If I remember correctly, they weren't even announced, right? And they were just what do they call stealth release, right? They just were like, let's do them. And she had to hand number every single one of those cards. I mean, yikes, that's a lot of work. So
I do want to make a prediction. I'm sitting here thinking about the risky decision one. I would predict one that was a risk that didn't pay off was, I think it was 2000 Pacific Online.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Where I don't remember what the deal was, but it's like there was URLs on the card and you could go and enter to win some kind of stamped 1-of-1 version of something. It's all, I don't think anybody really knows exactly what it was supposed to do, because I know there's not a lot of those stamped 1-of-1s floating around. So it did not get carried through very well.
So what exactly are those 1-of-1s? Again, I think that's a set that I know the least about. Rodney listed the Griffey as one of the toughest Pacific cards you could ever find.
Yeah.
What's the deal on those?
Yeah, I don't know. But I know if there was a redemption, an instant win thing you could get, but that might be the one Rodney was talking about that is impossible to find. But then it's I'm not sure what you won. What'd you win? A gateway computer from 2000, 2001?
A Mac, an iMac, one of the colored iMacs.
One of those Jelly Bean iMacs, yeah.
We all remember those. I mean, most of us, did our work in
that was the dream.
high school on them. Yeah.
Dream, yeah.
Oh man.
I think something like scratching my brain thinking about that. And maybe this is just getting into a discussion that we'll just save for Kramer. But I'm thinking like even the next step of like, was there something like that came out that was maybe a reaction or we're trying to compete with Upper Deck and with Tops and whatever, because they're about to do this thing that we've learned. And so we're going to release this and try to like beat them to it. And here's our product, because like that was competition was real back then.
Yeah.
So
E-Tops was 2001.
What was it?
The E-Tops was 2001.
Okay.
That's right.
And
first
year for that.
Beautiful cards. That's so nice. Yeah. Oh my gosh, the Ichiro. I remember that card is just like such a stunner. Oh, Ryan, you win a Digipet. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I think I'm again just talking about this. I keep going to I keep going back to what would he do now? Seeing how how Topps is doing things, with their Topps now, and how Panini's doing things like the white sparkle packs and the first off the line boxes. I'd be really curious to see if there's an idea that he would be like, I wonder how this would work. Because you remember Jean talked about this. She and her husband back in the day were like, we should do just a whole set of one-on-ones. Like in the early 90s, they had that idea. Like, was there an idea that never came to pass that he wishes he would have been like, we should have greenlit this one. Like that would have been a really fun thing to do. I'd be curious to hear about that too. If there's something that's always rolling around in his head, like, gosh, this would have been a fun idea,
it's been, when was the last time we had him on the show? It's been at least 2 years.
Yeah, it was. It was about 2 years ago, maybe 3.
And I know prior to us getting in touch with him, he was kind of disconnected from the hobby. And so now that he's kind of like, he's told me like, yeah, I've kind of like gotten back into it a little bit. So now that he's been back into it, what does he think of it? Is it what he expected it to be? Is it different in a good way? Is it different in a bad way?
Like, what is the hobby shock coming back to it?
Yeah.
What is like way different than you expected, or or just the same and he thought it would be different? Like either way, it would maybe be shocking to him.
Right. Well, when he got out, PSA was starting to, right? PSA was around for Ray, Dustin. Do you guys remember how long when they started, what year it was? I can't even remember. I feel it was in the 90s.
Mid-90s.
Yeah, and I was going to say it was in the 90s.
Like mid-90s, right? We were all getting our Beckett's and PSA was showing up. And we're like, what the heck is this? Because he mentioned to me that he was excited to collect again and Tom Brady rookies. And he only wanted PSA 10s. And I'm just like, whoa, okay. Well, aiming for the moon here. But his son liked Tom Brady. And how cool is it, do you think, like to go collect the cards that your company made? Like, it's just wild to me. And to find 10s of those cards, like, yep, my factory made that and our factory made that. And, so I'd be really curious, just kind of where he's at currently with the hobby.
Or to find out the card you made, how much did that Brady sell for? You find out one sold for $10,000. Be like, what the heck? That'd be awesome.
I'm sure there is. Like a couple of the ones I didn't want to use as comps were like in-person autos. I wanted to kind of look for pack pulled stuff, but that mantle I felt was so unique. And I remember him talking about that set being one of the first ones he had fun designing. So I included it. But yeah, that would be interesting. Like, what are his reactions when he sees that his cards are selling for as much, especially some of the ones that maybe he didn't think, like, what cards did you make that you didn't think were going to be popular? And you see people like going crazy because the Kramer's Choice, sure. I mean, everybody knows about those, but the Wild Vinyls maybe, or a couple of those other really tough sets. And there's some parallels out there, like the Shadow series from Revolution. Those go crazy, for some of the big time players. So yeah, it'd be really cool to hear. But yeah, I got some good questions here. These are all great, guys. Thanks for talking about that. Hopefully, when we have them on here in a couple of weeks, we'll get them to share some really good tidbits and leave enough for people to be like, I got to go get this book now. And again, we are going to give away, Will, you are giving away a signed copy, and we are also giving away a free copy that's unsigned. Is that what we decided to do on this?
Yeah, I've already talked to Mike. Hang on a second. Cookie.
Cookie's
my neighbor's dog. They're at a softball tournament in Virginia, and she wants to go snuggle with my wife, and she's bored in here with me.
Talking about cards.
Yeah.
Cookie's not in the hobby.
What were we talking about? What was the question? Oh,
The giveaway.
Yeah,
the giveaway. Yeah. So I asked Mike if I could send him, like I'm gonna get my copy in the mail and then immediately ship them to him because I want a signed copy, and then I'm gonna get Chris a signed copy, and then I'm gonna get an extra one that I'm gonna give away in the big 90s group on Facebook.
Awesome. Great.
Nice.
Very cool. And hopefully enough people there's got to be enough people that collected and still do collect Pacific that can come in and just enjoy, Mike talking about this, because, who knows how much longer we'll have Mike around. He had a bit of a health scare right after Will met him, and then I was able to talk with him. I mean, it didn't look good there for a bit. So I won't say we're on borrowed time, but we're pretty fortunate and lucky that he's still around to write the book and talk about it. And you can just tell how much he loves talking about it. So hopefully people will really enjoy that when he's on here. But the book comes out beginning of October, correct?
Yep. If you pre-order it now on Amazon, Amazon has sent me some emails where they've changed it and then they'll change it back. But I think it's like first weekish of October, like October 4th, I think it ships, something like that.
Awesome. Great. Well, look forward to having him on in 2 weeks, and hopefully everybody can make it for that. We'll kind of have to figure out who's going to be on here and how we're going to do the questions, but I'm sure it'll be a great time. Real quick here, Dustin, again, pretty exciting stuff. You look at the Super Collector page on Facebook, pretty big milestone, just went over 600 members. And you've also done some really cool things to kind of up the engagement of the community on there. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I actually created a YouTube page and an Instagram account. So go check out the YouTube page. It's just Super Collectors Unite with ! And so far we got 2 really awesome man cave tours that are incredible. So please go check them out. It's going to be worth your while. You're going to want to subscribe. And then the Instagram page, I just decided to show random posts from the Facebook group. And if I'm able to, I tag whoever is the owner of the card is, but if they don't have an Instagram account, I can't do that obviously, but yeah. So I got a big giveaway going on right now too. Well, the giveaway actually is going to start on Monday. I'm currently collecting donations for it. So yeah, a lot of cool things coming.
Awesome. And it's great to see that you're just up in the engagement. It's such a unique and fun group. And I think we all everybody in that group share the same passion for collecting one player or a variety of players. But really excited that you've done that. It's definitely got me excited to try to do. I mean, some of the man caves on there, I can't follow some of those guys. So I'm kind of like sitting here like, I'll wait for a while until these guys have all, we're all shaking our head. Like, I know everybody in here has incredible collections. We all do. In our own, I mean, nobody can top Chris's Frank Viola collection, but we're not going to that is on another plateau right now. But
I have a lot of Frank Violas.
Well, we'll have an entire episode where we battle Frank Viola cards.
That might be the most viewed of all of our episodes. We've done 82. That will top Mike Kramer by far. So let's
episode 100. Episode 100.
I have a hopefully next week coming out. Because I want to do a variety of things on the YouTube channel. I don't just want to do man cave tours.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping if I have time tomorrow, I'm going to do like a tutorial of sportlots.com, because I feel like that's one page that is not quite as popular as say COMC or eBay, and it's a little bit trickier to navigate some of the things, a little quirkier. So if I have time, I'm going to try to. I'm by no means an expert, but I'll try to do a little tutorial video on that.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be great. That's a good idea.
Yeah, we've all. I don't know about Ray. I think I've talked to Ray about that place, but I mean, I think we've all found some hidden gems on there before, especially 90s stuff. Found some really, really cool A-rods back in the day, and a few flurries, and yeah, definitely. So that'll be great to see, and yeah, curious to see how that's going to continue to evolve, especially the Instagram account. I think that's awesome that you're giving some shout outs there, and yeah, thanks for all you do on there. It definitely keeps me motivated and also really excited. Like Ray, that's where you posted the Ichiro. I mean, I think that's an awesome place to celebrate that because it's a longevity project, So Yeah. Really cool to do that. As far as how your guys' collections are going, I don't know. I didn't grab any cards specifically, but real quick to wrap it up, share a card. Ray basically stole your thunder, so maybe you could share another one. But share a card that's come in the last month or two that like really, really excited about, really proud about.
I was just going to say real quick that Super Collectors Group, I am shocked that it's only at 600. If you had asked me, I would have guessed 2K because I feel like there is so much engagement in that group. It shows up in my Facebook feed constantly, and it's awesome. I love that. That's one of my favorite groups. It's constantly good content. And maybe it's just because it's still kind of small and we all kind of know each other. And I don't know, but that's an incredible group. I love that group. All right. I've got two I pulled out. One is one that I finally got from a guy. This is just the base 99 Ripken Kramer's Choice out of 299. It's one of the most common ones. It's not super rare, but this is one of the last three that I need to complete the entire run. So the only two I got left is the Gold Sparkle and the Purple, which are out of 15 and out of 10. So
okay,
cross your fingers for me on that one. That's the last achievable one for me for now.
All right.
And then I also picked this one up for a very cheap buy it now. I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts on replacements? This is a gold refractor replacement. These are normally out of 25, but this one is not numbered. It's normally got the number right there. But I don't know. I love replacement cards and other things like that where it's like, I kind of feel like I'm not supposed to have this. And
yeah, I personally like to have an example of each if possible. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Some people are really funny about that, and I never got it. I feel like, okay, you have 25 of the gold signatures. How many don't have a serial number on them? Probably just this one.
Right.
Because it wasn't in a pack, people don't like them. I don't know. That's fine with me. That's less
more than a couple out there.
I'll take all of them.
Right. No, Ray, you're right. I think it's having that example of each. Like the completionist in us wants to check that one off the box. Like here's the gold refractor and here's the replacement if something went wrong. Do I know how it got into my hands? No, but it would be great if I did. Like, oh, John Smith grabbed 3 copies when he left the company and then it ended up with this guy and now you have it. Like that would probably make him even nicer. But for me, when I was collecting that kind of stuff, I thought it was great. I mean, it's something unique. It's like those specific ones that have the stamp in them, like a lot of people don't think they're great because they got stamped at a show, but like how many A-Rods like that were stamped at any show? Like 2 or 3. So I think they're cool. So those are awesome.
And plus you usually get a huge discount on those as well.
Right.
Yep, exactly.
A state of the hobby or a celebration of the hobby, our local card shop has been successful enough that they've expanded from doing cards and Will is wearing their new shirt that they are now selling at the store. So it's fun to celebrate and say our local card shop that only opened, I think last year, has been really successful and it looks like it's going to continue to be successful.
That's awesome.
And so
what do you love about it?
I saw that shirt you were wearing, Will, and I thought, oh man, I forgot about that. You just gotten that. Like they just started selling them.
Yeah.
What do you love about it so much, Chris? Like why do you think it's stayed so successful?
The owner, I think, is a really smart guy. We also got to talk at length with them, like all of them at the National, the second to last to Saturday or Sunday, I forget. And just kind of talk about, trades they've made and deals that they've been working on. And it's just been like their whole team just working tirelessly to make that shop work. I mean, it seems like it is one of the co-owners, I believe, she, I think had recently quit her full-time job to do the store full-time. So that really tells us like, okay, it's working.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I'll tell you what makes them successful is they are just absolute like churn new cards through the display cases. Every time we go in there, it is a completely different shop.
Sick.
Even if it's just like one Saturday to the next Saturday, like if it didn't sell, They're going to take it out, put new stuff in. They'll put it back out in a month or two. Maybe they'll sell then. But one of the owners is like hell bent on, I want new stuff in those cases constantly to get people to keep coming in. Because how many card shops? I know all of y'all know card shops that you went in 5 years ago, and you go in next week, and it's going to look the exact same it did 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So they've got a really good mentality, I think, of like keeping it fresh to keep you wanting to come back, because it's like, oh man, they're gonna have new stuff in the cases this weekend.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's been really important.
So for any of the folks watching, if you haven't already followed and subscribed to the Super Collectors Unite group, then after that, search for Palmetto Cards.
Yeah,
and see their posts. They also have a really good online presence.
Awesome. Chris, did you have a card? Is that the thing that you wanted to share for your like last couple months?
I have purchased one card since the National, and it was I don't have it right here. It was the 23 finest Ozzy Albies gold to 50, number 23 out of 50. And I just purchased today not a card from the 1889 Ginter bird set that I've been looking at, Birds of the Tropics, but an album that is only redeemable with coupons out of the cigarettes. And I've only seen them for like $200 to $300 on eBay. And I found it randomly on Etsy on some vintage book account for $80.
Nice.
And so I finally was able to get that today. So I feel like I can say that out loud now and not let people know, hey, you can find this really hard to find thing on Etsy of all places. But next week is the release of 23 Allen and Ginter, and I will be at the door of Palmetto Cards ready to get a hobby box of it. So I'll have something fun, hopefully, that I pull out of that.
It's the new sleeping outside of GameStop for the new Halo. You go sleep outside of GameStop.
They give you like a free box topper or something if you show up. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Cool.
Well, hopefully you pull all Braves, but if not, hopefully you pull the 101 Tyler Glasnow Wood Mini. That would be an incredible pull. But good luck to you, man. I knew you were excited about that. So you'll have to. And can I throw a suggestion out? Because I haven't seen them all really. I don't know if you scan or take pictures, but in the Super Collector group, it would be great if you posted all your birds from that set along with the album. I think that would be really cool to see them all at once. We would all enjoy that. So just throwing that out there.
Thanks.
Yep. Okay, Ray, besides the Ichiro, anything else significant come in for you? And then we'll get to Dustin.
Yeah, it's been like a slow drip, but I got two. The first one is this 2004 Flair Showcase Hot Gloves, the piece of the base.
That's sick, dude. And you remember how important that card was to me, the non-game use version. I love that card so much. Great picture.
Yeah, it took me forever to find this one. These are out of 50, but yeah, it took me forever to find the game used one. And then the second is 2009. It's like baseball card history. This is the red refractor. I don't know if I get the shine on it, but these are out of 25.
Man, that thing is awesome.
Man, that's sick.
Yeah, I wish I could get the shine on there, but it's got a lot of shine to it. But these are out of 25, and I didn't think I'd ever find the red refractor, and finally it popped up.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, those are cool.
Love the Japanese lettering on there. It's like that insert I sent in the group chat. I'll have to send it to you, Ray. I'm sure you're going to get one. That new Julio Rodriguez set has this really cool Ichiro insert in it that's got this Japanese lettering. If you go on Cardboard Connection, you look at that set, the picture of the Ichiro is on there, and it's such a cool card. I want one just because I love the animation style, like an anime style card with the Japanese lettering. So, yeah, very cool. How about you, Dustin?
Well, I haven't picked up anything in a while, but I happen to have this card in front of me that I picked up, I don't know, a couple months ago. That is pretty cool. It's the 93 Pinnacle Cooperstown. It's the Dufex version.
Yeah, nice.
And I can't remember the story with these. You know, this was like a box set. And I want to say that they gave out the Dufex version at like some type of convention or something. Maybe somebody else knows, but mainly lately I've been addicted to refractors. So I've been picking up base refractors, you know, like $1, $2 cards. I got a whole stack of them here that I'm going to show in a video that I'm going to post probably tomorrow on my channel. But just I picked up a lot of Johan Santana's, Joe Mauer's, Jared Allen's, guys like that I wanted base refractors of. My favorite one was only like 85 cents, and it's a Jake Reed 96 finest. And I peeled that sucker, and boy, does that, it's hard to see here I don't got very good lighting, but boy, is it shiny.
Wow. Hashtag team no peel, right? Like take that peel off there.
No peel.
Jeremy would be so happy.
Yeah, I'm very happy with that too. That's awesome, dude. And it's so crazy too, because if you think like the first refractors that came out were really hard to get and they were really expensive. So if you buy a 93 finest box, your refractor is probably going to be, not Willie, or if not Willie McGee, somebody name a random 90s 1993 player, like
Joey Hamilton,
Pat
Frank
Hinkin.
Viola.
Yeah, Frank Viola. Yeah. That would be like $100 card to Chris. Does he actually have a 93 finest refractor, Frank Viola?
Probably not.
Dang it, because I'd say
That's a
Chris
great question,
McGee
though.
would get one. That would be like your target #1 most wanted card right there, man.
I've already got both base micros. I mean, those are my #1. So
Those are awesome. Well, I have good news and bad news. The good news is, minus those 2 prisms, I am only 1 away from finishing the most of the
Jeez.
rainbow.
Look at that.
From yeah,
Who's
it's been, this is who? Yeah, exactly who. So I'm missing just the red toil or toily, however you say that. The black came in after being gone. I showed Will in the chat this. This was lost for a month in the mail. It was hanging out in the middle of the country, but this is out of 10. So obviously you're like, oh, it's not a refractor. It's like a really rare one. I hope it's not lost. But I found out because still, for some reason, eBay has an option where you like don't ship. You can say, I don't want to ship to Alaska or Hawaii, even though like it's the same, right? Everything gets there the same, just takes longer. Somebody listed the super for $250 or $299, and I missed it. And so I was wanting to go for the whole rainbow, and
Oh, dang.
I was like, I even messaged the seller. I'm like, hey, can you tell me who bought this? Like, I'd love to chat with them. Nothing, which is like, well, I lost it, whatever. But so the rainbow will not be completed unless they decide to relist it. But other than that, yeah, super close to finishing that off, and I'm glad Allen and Ginter's coming out. Give me some new glass now cards to go after. That wood 101 would be a fun one to find. So. So yeah, that's been really fun. I think that set, that 22 platinum anniversary, I think we can all agree there's legends in there. The pictures look great. The refractors look great. I think it's one of the best sets Topps done this year. It really looks amazing. I'm sure Dustin's seen. Is Kirby in there? Does Kirby have some cards? Right.
In the chrome platinum.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He's got some cards. His go for a lot of money.
Okay. But I mean, they've got all the legends in there. Cal's probably in there. I mean, I haven't looked, but I'm sure. I assume Cal's in there. Ichiro is obviously in there. Frank Viola did not make it this year, I don't think, but made it last year. We do know that. So, and then so it's really awesome. There's a couple rookies in there that you're like, okay, what about these other legends that didn't make it? But beautiful set, a lot of fun parallels, and even the retail rips look awesome. You get some great cards. So, yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for our episode. I hope you all had fun doing trivia, and those that were here followed along, enjoyed it as well. I think I made the most of a single screen as opposed to 2, but it was really fun to test your guys' knowledge and learn something about, baseball cards in general. And Evan Longoria, top 5 OPS of active players. Who would have guessed besides Mike Trout?
Yeah.
That's a good one for the grid. I feel like OPS is going to show up here one of these days.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And I hope we get more grids like that. I hope on Saturdays they keep doing this style of grid where it's just all stats all the way across. Because a couple of my guesses were like 2 or 3%. And I'm like, how could this player be? Oh, because there's this category and everybody put him there instead of here. So that was what happened to me today. But yeah, thanks, Dustin and Ray. Appreciate you guys coming on here and teaming up. And
thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Chris, thanks for making it on here, and let us know how the Allen and Ginter stuff ends up going. And then also don't forget to post your birds in the Super Collector page for the world to see. We want to check them out, man.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for running the show, Matt.
Yep, you bet. And then Will, nice job on the shirt choice. Sorry I didn't notice it sooner. I would have done the shout out, but great to have you back, and save some chicken and waffles for me when I come visit one of these days, huh?
And I can confirm there is a 93 Frank Viola finest refractor.
Oh, boy.
There we go.
All right.
PSA 10 sold for $200. The PSA 9 it sold for $85.
PSA 10 was $200. Well, Chris, you better start saving up some money.
My max is like $20 on.
I mean, hey, this 9 sold for $85, so I would think raw $50, $40.
Yeah. There we go. Awesome. Well, you guys have a good night, and thank you for everybody who hung out with us for the show. We appreciate it. See you guys on the 30th with Mike Kramer. Take care.